Hi everyone, welcome to another video. So today what we're going to be doing is having a look at an old video and making it a little bit more up to date so that it's useful for you guys who are studying in the next couple of years. So what this is a sort of breakdown of the Guardian as a whole, not just of the front page, which I've obviously annotated already, but looking more at the background to the Guardian and seeing where we can link some of that information from the front cover. This is a video that I already have on YouTube, but what I'll be doing is updating it with you guys today. A lot of the information is going to stay the same, but there are areas where I'll be talking about how it links to the front page. And obviously when I upload this one, I'll be taking the old one off the site, just so that it's something that stays up to date for you guys. So starting off with ideology then, the paper stays faithful to the traditions that it had as a broadsheet paper. It initially appealed to a lower middle class audience and was considered a lower middle class paper, and so it tries to keep this audience throughout. It tends to avoid commenting on politics directly, but we don't see that in the front cover that you guys have to analyse, and that's largely because Brexit was such a huge issue that there was no real way of avoiding it. Just the same as today, while we're in the midst of this pandemic, that's mostly what the front pages are likely to focus on, regardless of what kind of paper they are. Now the primary audience for The Guardian are likely to be older, and because of this they're also likely to be higher up on the ABC system. And also because of this they're likely to fall into that succeeders category of the 4C system. If you're not sure what each of those systems are, have a look at the theory video that I've got in the general knowledge playlist, and that will help you to break down your audiences. In terms of the secondary demographic, they're going to be younger, and because they're younger they'll therefore be lower down on the ABC system and may well be strugglers, or more likely people who are aspirers and who want to achieve the status of the primary demographic. Now the Guardian has changed styles regularly. So originally it was a broadsheet newspaper and it ran as a broadsheet paper from 1821 to 2005, but it moved to a Berliner format, and a Berliner was sort of a middle market paper which was somewhere between a broadsheet and a tabloid. It ran with that for 13 years from 2005 to 2018, and from 2018 it has been publishing in a tabloid style. Now although it's published in a tabloid style, I think we could get away with calling this a broadsheet paper. One, because it's very clear that the exam board have picked The Guardian and The Sun as two very contrasting papers, but also because it has this formal tone throughout, which you don't see on red top tabloids like The Sun. Now in terms of its political alliance, The Guardian has a sort of centre left-wing readership, which means that it tends to support Labour. It has also supported the Liberal Democrats in the past, but more often than not it tries to stay out of politics completely and tries to stay out of supporting a particular party. However, the history that it has supported sort of left-wing leadership might be why we have this seeming criticism on the front cover of the paper where we see the Conservatives represented as people who are in despair and who don't really know what they're doing, and that might be one of the reasons why they are represented in that way. And this also links to the main stories that the paper tends to publish as well. So the main stories tend to be more formal. They also tend to focus on hard news such as business and traditional institutions like the NHS. But since the move to the tabloid format and to combat the declining numbers, they also publish a large entertainment and sports section. Now this is really important to know because the focus of sort of business and traditional institutions is what we see on the front cover of The Guardian that you guys have to know about. So the focus there is on one of the major companies within the UK, and the fact that it is such a big business and that it might end up losing a lot of jobs is one of the reasons why it's so important and why it features so prominently on the front page. Now the paper is owned by the Guardian Media Group. Initially this was published by Scots Trust Limited, but it has since been published by the Trinity Mirror Group. It's got sister publications like a lot of other newspapers, including things like The Observer, and it's edited by Catherine Viner. As of April 2019 there has been a drop in circulation, so comparing the 2019 statistics to February 2020, we've seen a drop from about 130 something thousand to 126,000, and this is quite an interesting statistic because obviously this would take into account the move to the tabloid format and the suggestion that perhaps that's not really working for the paper as a whole. Now in terms of context then, it's owned by the Guardian Media Group, again published by the Guardian Media Group until 2018 when it moved to that tabloid format and was then published by Trinity Mirror. The paper has changed many times over the years from broadsheet to more formal tabloid. It's got a large focus on business due to the higher income audience, and again this is reflected on the front page that you guys have to study. And again, despite the high income audience, it does have traditions appealing to lower middle classes who may find themselves being drawn back to the paper because of its tabloid format. In terms of cultural context, it's got a very business focus for the majority of publications. Because of its formal tone, it's likely to attract this audience who are more interested in business, but entertainment is becoming a larger emphasis of the paper as a whole. In terms of politics, as we've said, it's a supporter of Labour and the Liberal Democrats, but it avoids commenting on political parties directly, so it avoids obviously shaming any or supporting any political party, and is a big supporter of the NHS and other British institutions. Hopefully that was useful for you guys. There's a few key terms here. They're very similar to the ones from the original video, so if you have already made your note cards here, you don't have to, but just make sure that you understand what each of these mean. Maybe make note cards for those that you don't, or make them into a little glossary for yourself so that you can look back on it as you revise. If you haven't already, please subscribe. For everybody who subscribes, you get a shout out in the next video, and it also helps me to get one step closer to using that community tab on YouTube, which would keep you guys up to date. You can also get in touch with me through the comments section below, so any suggestions, ideas, comments, anything like that, pop them in the comment section below, or get in touch with me through my social media, and I will see you guys later for another video.